language, rhetoric, literature, and literary culture. We also create literature. We perform that work by reading and writing. And reading and writing are what the students before you have been doing, to spend several years exploring profound books and ideas amounts to an extraordinary privilege. It is serious work. It is also a cultural necessity. Over 400 years ago, the Elizabethan writer Sir Philip Sidney described the purpose of literature as to delight and to teach. Literature delights, Sidney said, in order to move men, to take that goodness in hand, which without delight, they would flee as from a stranger. And literature teaches in order to make people understand that goodness towards which they are moved. Of all the arts and sciences, Sidney argued, literature has the greatest capacity to move and affect us because it appeals the most comprehensively to our human faculties, through our sense of rhythmic sound and musicality, through imagery that awakens our visual and visceral imaginations, and through ideas expressed to activate both our intellects and our feelings. It is that sensual and intellectual complementarity that makes literature memorable and significant, and that moves the reader towards goodness. So these graduates have been reading, but reading in a way that requires the full engagement of their beings. Such reading is an ethical act as well. To read well in literary studies means to put yourself on unfamiliar terrain, to find your way among other sensibilities and often archaic genres, forms, and turns of language. To read well requires an unusual degree of empathy, a receptiveness to the subtleties and complexities of life experiences vastly different from, even inimical to, one's own. Reading literature builds empathy, a quality of which our society is much in need today. Reading well demands close attention to language and nuances of expression, and it insists that moral truths be determined not simply by invoking categorical absolutes, but by sifting the rough-edged details of life in all its immediacy. These graduates have also been writing. Writing well demands mastery of grammar and syntax, sensitivity to the richness of diction, insight into audience and context, expertise in logic and argumentation, respect for evidence, and the learned ability to marshal language into clear, lucid, and captivating structures of thought. To write well, really well, is one of the highest and most difficult of cultural achievements. There's something magical about writing well. From ancient Greek culture and into the Renaissance, rhetoric was traditionally linked with magic, with the power to charm or enchant its hearers. Writing suggests another kind of magic as well, the capacity of language to call words or the possibilities of words into being, as our commencement speaker pointed out. In the beginning was the Word. That ancient Greek term logos that we translate insufficiently as word invokes the sense of a primal creative act from which the world flows forth. To write well, even if it is an assigned essay for a Shakespeare class, is to open up the fundamental and optimistic possibility that we can create or reinvent the world before our very eyes. Literature is one of culture's best tools for imagining the future into being. So, parents, that is what your sons and daughters have been doing in our discipline, reading and writing well. These are skills that will last them a lifetime and that are crucial to our society. Indeed, it would seem impossible for a civilized nation or a democratic society to flourish without the work represented by the graduates whom we see before us. And for your accomplishments, our graduates, I salute you, each and every one. Dr. Thomas Mosier, Director of English Undergraduate Studies, will present the Undergraduate Student Awards, after which he will present the students receiving the Bachelor of Arts degree in English.